What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Commentary for you. I didn't want to do this video, but I have to. Moonlight Swami last week came out and announced that he's done at EA. He did a video on his channel, says it was an honor and a privilege to be able to represent the sim community, and man, we have to have a long talk about this because there's never an apology in these situations. You know, I get made out to be the villain so many times, but the reality is, all I've done is discuss this in a rational way. This is a guy that was living with his parents, that applied to EA after the community made him into a commodity, and for all we understand, never actually had any true developer experience or programming experience. EA has a track record of doing this. They pillage people from the community, they hire them in an attempt to get on our good graces, and then when these people absolutely fail, and I mean that in every sense of the word, absolutely fail to deliver on their promises, on their commitments, and we're going to get into that in just a moment, the defensiveness that Andre had. For some reason, no one actually wants to be the person that goes back and says, hey, we told you so. You know, Andre, you blocked a lot of people on Twitter. You got really, really upset by people calling you out. But the reality is, you can't sit here and look back and tell us that you represented us. Because you didn't. You built your channel on franchise gaming. You knew exactly what franchise gamers wanted from a depth perspective. And under your direction, it would appear that EA was incapable of even completing 3 scheduled updates. You sat there and projected outwardly to people in the community, to customers selling a game, that you were aware of what the community wanted, you had listened, and you were creating an action plan. And that action plan failed. And whether you left EA voluntarily or they advised you to leave, this sets up a very dangerous track record of, in my opinion, ultimately what is individuals that exploit the community for a degree of importance and then leverage that to become employed by EA and then never actually hold themselves accountable to what got them there in the first place. It's similar to almost an elected official where the community creates these people that are more important than they actually are, and then once they're given a position of power, they do absolutely nothing to show that they were worthy of that actual election or hiring. So with that in mind, I want to take just a small trip down memory lane, because Andre, as I said, did have one of the more established franchise channels in the community, and this all started the way most stories do, with him becoming an EA Sports game changer. And the only way to do this is through community support. They don't just pick random people. So on April 21st, 2016, he says that he's an EA Sports game changer. He later becomes employed. He later has people that promote this game, hyping him in tweets, talking about how he's overhauled this game mode, and from there, he actually defends himself and says that he is taking steps to earning the trust back of franchise fans. This is a June 26, 2021 tweet, less than a year ago, right? After that, he sits there as a game designer at EA Play and talks about all the things that he's going to accomplish in the plans that he's made. And now, once he's left, he has the audacity to sit here and talk about wanting to move forward and talk about compensatory picks, which aren't in Madden, by the way. And now he feels that he has this ability to talk at a professional level about NFL football, and that you'll want to hear him explain how different parts of the league work. Andre, you couldn't get this into the game. Why do I care what you think about the inner workings of the NFL? You had one job in 4 years, and that was to improve franchise mode, and you literally failed. Next victim, Deuce Douglas, come on down. This is another guy, 16,000 words, 100 plus mock-ups. Twitter, do your thing. Oh, trust me when I tell you they did. We've sat here and hyped this guy for years. 3,000 likes, 1,500 near retweets, 200 plus quotes. Go take a quick venture to EA's official Madden Twitter and find numbers like this today. You won't. Who's the first person mentioned in this? Me. Because you want me to take this and run with it. And I did. And I showed these things and I said, these are fantastic concepts, fantastic mock-ups. This is exactly what we need from this game. Less than a year later, they hired Deuce Douglas. Where are we now? Where did these two get us? Right? That's what I want to know. People often say to me, oh, you can't be critical. You're not a game programmer. You're not a game designer. You're right. I'm not. I didn't go to school for it. I don't want to do it. It's not my life's work. But the fact of the matter is you have to look at the reality of these situations. We help these people get jobs based on a promising commitment they make to wanting to get the game better. And then when they get there, whether by their choice or not, they fail to deliver. And now, this guy feels that he can just come back to the community and regain his YouTube channel. And people aren't going to hold him accountable. And people are going to champion him and say, hey, Andre, thanks for trying. No. Andre, what happened? Why in 4 years could you not live up to these commitments? Why did you take advantage of people in this community that were so willing to put their necks on the line for you? Why did you make so many promises that you ultimately didn't uphold? You know, I let this go for a week because you came out and you said you had to have shoulder surgery. And I thought to myself, maybe, just maybe this impacted him somehow, right? Maybe this shoulder surgery is the reason that he had to leave. And I didn't want to be that guy, right? I didn't want to be that guy that takes somebody with a medical condition and says, well, this must be the reason that they didn't accomplish these things. But the more I've sat and thought about it, the more I've read your tweets, the more I've looked at your videos, there's nothing that connects those two dots. Right? You didn't leave because your shoulder hurt and you couldn't type and program. You left, or you were told to leave, and left this game in a condition that was not to your promises. Now, I don't mean that you need to start every video with an "I'm sorry, guys," but it would be nice if you would come out and acknowledge to the people that got you where you were, you let them down. And Deuce Douglas, you're quickly on the same path. Now, the point of the last 7.5 minutes, 8 minutes has been EA Sports needs to make a real investment, not to community members, but to actual programmers, actual designers, actual developers. This whole issue can be traced back to Clint Oldenburg coming on as a game changer or an intern with NCAA football. And then they build him into the lead of Madden. But Clint's not a programmer. Clint's not a designer. Neither were Deuce Douglas and Andre. They're just people that have the best intentions for Madden in mind. Well, guess what? There's a whole bunch of people that have the best intentions of Madden in their mind. I'm one of them. So are you if you're watching this video, nearly 9 minutes long. Just because you have the best intentions for something doesn't mean you're capable of actually completing it. And that's what we've seen time and time and time again. EA Sports needs to stop pillaging our community of people that make content and instead go out and make real investments into some of the brightest minds in programming. Get them working on the game that can actually turn ideas into in-game playable scenarios. Essentially, we could all do what Deuce Andre did, which is make a giant list and say, this is what we want. But until you can get somebody in the building that can program into the game, it doesn't matter. And this is what we've learned for years on end. It doesn't matter who is in that building. If they can't design and program, they can see the door. Because they're not going to make meaningful changes. I know I might sound harsh in this video, but the reality is this game is going nowhere. Absolutely nowhere other than the bargain bin and here's free codes to give away because EA is making decisions like this. And there's a proven track record of not getting results. Love to know your guys' thoughts on this. You're impacted by it too. Appreciate you checking out. And everyone that sent me Andre's tweets. I wonder, Andre, can you unblock me on Twitter now that you're no longer an employee of EA? I don't know. But I will be back. as long as EA continues to hire people from this community that can't actually get the results they promise whenever I want to, with more commentary.